The world was taken aback by a recent event. 49 white South Africans were granted refugee status in the United States. This decision, made by former President Donald Trump, sparked outrage and confusion. The stated reason? Racial persecution in South Africa. This narrative, however, is built on a foundation of misinformation. It's crucial to examine the facts and understand the dangers of this misleading story. The situation is complex. It involves powerful figures like Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It also exposes the dark side of misinformation in the digital age. We need to unpack this story carefully. By doing so, we can learn from it and prevent similar situations from arising in the future. This is not just about South Africa or the United States. This is about the importance of truth and the responsibility we all share in combating falsehoods. Let's dive in. The story begins with Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur behind Tesla and SpaceX. In 2024, Musk met with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. The meeting focused on bringing Starlink, SpaceX's satellite internet service, to South Africa. During these discussions, South Africa's black economic empowerment laws came up. These laws, designed to address historical inequalities caused by apartheid, became a point of contention. Misinformation about BE would later fuel the refugee crisis narrative. Some critics, lacking context and understanding of South African history, misconstrued BE as reverse racism. This mischaracterization, unfortunately, gained traction online and within certain circles. The meeting between Musk and Ramaphosa, initially about bridging the digital divide, inadvertently set the stage for a much larger and more damaging narrative. To understand this story, we need to understand BE. Black economic empowerment is not about punishing anyone, it's about addressing a past riddled with injustice. Apartheid, South Africa's system of racial segregation, ended in 1994. But its legacy? That's something South Africa is still grappling with. For decades, black South Africans were systematically excluded, denied opportunities, denied basic human rights. BE aims to level the playing field. It encourages businesses to be more inclusive, to give opportunities to those who were historically sidelined. It's about creating a fairer South Africa. It's about righting the wrongs of the past. It's not about punishing white South Africans. It's about building a future where everyone has a chance to succeed. Section 4: South African crime separating fact from fiction. A key part of the refugee narrative is the claim of widespread violence against white farmers in South Africa. This claim, however, is not supported by facts. South Africa does have a crime problem, a tragic reality for many countries, but to suggest that white farmers are specifically targeted is simply untrue. Let's look at the statistics from the South African Police Service, or SAPS. In 2024, there were approximately 27,000 murders in South Africa. Farm murders accounted for less than 1% of this number. These statistics paint a very different picture from the one being peddled by those pushing the refugee narrative. It's crucial to rely on verified information from credible sources like SAPS, rather than inflammatory claims often spread online. Section 5. Crime across continents, a reality check. Let's take this a step further. The United States, where these 49 individuals were granted refugee status, also faces its own challenges with crime. In 2023 alone, there were over 21,000 homicides in the U.S. Yet, there's no narrative of American farmers of any race fleeing the country in fear for their lives. This isn't about downplaying the issue of crime in either country, it's about highlighting the hypocrisy and inconsistency of the refugee narrative. If high crime rates were the sole basis for granting refugee status, then wouldn't many Americans themselves qualify? It's clear that this situation is far more nuanced than simply pointing to crime statistics. Section 6. AfriForum, amplifying fear. One group that has been particularly vocal in promoting the narrative of white persecution in South Africa is AfriForum. This right-wing group has consistently pushed the idea that white South Africans are under attack. However, their claims lack transparency and have been widely disputed. AfriForum's rhetoric is dangerous. It plays on fear and division. It ignores the real experiences of many South Africans while pushing a false narrative for political gain. It's important to be wary of such groups and the information they spread. Their agenda does not reflect the realities on the ground in South Africa. Section 7, From Tweet to Policy, the Trump Factor. In 2018, Donald Trump sent out a tweet that would foreshadow his later decision to grant refugee status to the 49 South Africans. In this tweet, Trump claimed to be looking into the large-scale killing of farmers in South Africa. This tweet, based on misinformation likely fed to him by alt-right news sources and potentially influenced by those in Elon Musk's circles, demonstrated a shocking lack of understanding of the situation in South Africa.